We open the borders, we let, 10 plus million people in we don't know. Some of them are criminals. And so then law enforcement says, well, you're here illegally and you're committing crimes and you're hurting people. So we're going to find you and we're going to remove you.
So right off the bat, this open borders thing tells you that Pastor Mark isn't really engaging with reality. He's using a straw man. We don't have and we've never had open borders as a policy in the US, which is the common rhetoric used against Biden. What we do have is a mix of asylum claims, visa overstays, illegal crossings, and a totally overwhelmed system where people's statuses get mixed up. So most undocumented immigrants aren't what he's implying. But unfortunately, he collapses all that nuance into a scary headline you'll emotionally get invested in. And he refuses to talk about the nuances that Christians should care about. Illegal doesn't always equal violent, enforcement doesn't automatically equal moral, and you can support borders and oppose cruelty and abuse at the same time. Also, migration has a pattern. More people come under Democratic administrations because the country feels more stable and welcoming to people fleeing poverty and violence. That's basic human behavior. You attract more bees with honey than vinegar. The problem is the menacing rhetoric that dehumanizes every undocumented person, and that rhetoric is starting to pass to people who protest ICE too. Deportations and removals have happened under Biden too, in some periods even exceeding Trump's. He just didn't wrap it in cruelty as a policy. That's the nuance Mark ignores.
And then other people come along and say, you know who's evil? Law enforcement. Do you know what that is? Pure evil.
Now what he's blatantly ignoring is that ICE lately has gone way beyond violent criminals. We've seen major public incidents that lead into a pattern. The killing of Renee Nicole Good and a US citizen being dragged out into the snow, and the beatings and shootings of protesters completely wrecking his narrative. Yet Mark reduces this all to, if you criticize them, you're calling enforcement evil. That's pretty intellectually dishonest because people are actually criticizing abuse of power and unlawful conduct, not the principle of lawful, humane enforcement.
The Bible says, woe to those who call evil good and good evil and call light darkness and darkness light, and that's what evil people do. We're seeing it right now. When people are harming citizens and those who are protecting citizens are called evil, you know that a culture has lost its soul and its conscience.
I agree with the Isaiah line, but here's what he won't acknowledge. The prophets used that kind of warning against leaders who oppress the weak and justified harsh power as righteousness. I mean, calling out abuse isn't calling good evil. It's trying to preserve justice and mercy, exactly what the Bible calls God's people to do. Scripture, including MAGA's favorite verse, Romans 13, doesn't give the state a free pass. We're also commanded to treat the foreigner well, and when authorities act wickedly, we must obey God rather than men. If society loses the ability to see the dignity of the stranger and the mercy owed to every human made in God's image, that's a real loss of the soul. Pastor Mark's citizens being harmed only sounds righteous after you erase the details, but the actual harms we're seeing paint a very different picture. Remember, understanding nuance and naming injustice doesn't make you soft, it makes you just. God bless.